November, Child Adoption Awareness Month. The purpose of this month is to let you know that there are hundreds of kids here in San Antonio, Bexar County, and all over South Texas looking for their forever home. It's also an opportunity for you, if you're interested in fostering or adopting a child, to get some of those questions you might have before you take that next step. We can answer those questions for you, and that's why we were here today. We are at SJRC. We're with Carrie Cox Pitcher. She is in charge of Child Placement Services here at SJRC. First off, what does SJRC stand for?
St. Jude's Ranch for Children, SJRC Texas.
And that's a familiar name to a lot of people here in San Antonio and South Texas, but it's now I guess encompass a lot more than what the Children Ranch used to do. Is that right?
Yes, there's many different aspects to SJRC Texas. Here in San Antonio at our offices, we take care of the child placing agency. This is where the foster to adopt children we work with them and find homes and work with the families to get them licensed.
When this month started, we wrote an article on our website, kset.com, and we asked people if they had some questions about the possibility of adopting or fostering, and got a lot of great responses. So we wanted to take some time here and answer some of these questions. A lot of them kind of repetitive, so we kind of grouped them together. And the first and foremost is, how do you become a foster parent, or how do you become an adoptive parent?
So there are a lot of questions, and the best thing is to go to our website, sjrctexas.org. You can submit an inquiry if you're interested, whether you're interested in fostering only, foster to adopt, adoption, if you're interested in just helping in some way. That's the best place to start, is if you go to the website, submit an inquiry, and then someone from the home development office can reach out to you and listen to your questions and figure out what's the best way for you to help.
One of the things people should know is you can foster without adopting, but if you want to adopt eventually, you have to foster children. Is that correct?
Well, there are children that are available for adoption only, and you can request that. They're legally free. Generally, we do foster only, we do foster to adopt, and you can do adoption only. Obviously, sometimes that can be a smaller percentage of the children and different behaviors and things depending on what you're ready for, but it is possible.
I think another popular question was, what is an age limit that I can adopt? Do I ever get too old to adopt a child?
Right. The only requirement as far as age is 21 years old. You need to be 21 years old. But as far as it getting older, it really depends on your situation. And that's part of the conversation that you have with your home developer, is where are you at? Are you able to meet the requirements? You know, are you if you're a single parent or if you're with a spouse, are you guys ready to do that at whatever age you may be?
Can a single parent adopt a child?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And how difficult is that for a single parent to be able to do that, or is it any more difficult than if you were a couple?
The process is the same, but as far as support and all of that, I mean, obviously a single parent, just like any single parent, needs support and help, and that's something that SJRC Texas tries to provide.
You obviously do background checks. Is there something that would keep a just kind of a generic answer? Is there something that would keep a person from being able to adopt a child?
They have to meet the certain requirements. I mean, the age limit, the background check, if there's things that come up that we are just told by the background unit whether or not we can move forward. Specifics that I can't really say exactly, but you can get a background check, and things have come back, and you can do risk evaluations to move forward if need be.
Mixed race, that came up a couple of times in the questionnaire. Is there something to do with mixed race, or does it matter?
Not at all. I mean, we want our families to be different and varied, just like our children. And we're all different shapes and sizes and different races. And
there's been some controversy in various states and various counties about same-sex marriages. And those folks being able to adopt. What is the rule as far as you guys are concerned here in Bexar County?
At SJRC Texas, we don't discriminate for age or gender, marital status, sexuality. They're all welcome.
And that's something that they can do some research on and find more about all the things that the qualifications and requirements.
Well, definitely reach out with an inquiry to our website, and but in general, there's background checks that have to be completed. You have in-person training, you have online training, and of course there's certain documentation you have to provide. A home study has to be completed, home inspections, things like that.
I've had a couple of questions, very interesting. Is there a certain size of home that a person has to have in order to be able to adopt a child?
Again, it varies. I mean, there's certain requirements on space and bedrooms and things like that, but that's a discussion you would have with your home developer. Just asking specifically about your home and what you have and what you may need. But for the most part, you'd be surprised at a lot of families are able to provide a home for a child.
So if you have some pretty good accommodations, then you're probably in pretty good shape as far as...
It's probably much less of an issue than people think.
Yeah, I was wondering if that is true. Health issues, you have, obviously we're dealing with COVID, we're getting into the point where children from 5 to 12 or 5 to 11 can be vaccinated. How do people go about dealing with health issues as far as even COVID is concerned?
Yeah, we've been dealing, with the COVID issue just like everyone else. Luckily, so many of our families have been wonderful in this process of being open to children that have had COVID, dealing with it if they do get it themselves or if the children do. So we just work with them and follow the requirements of the state and help them the best we can.
And I know that the state can provide some assistance. What assistance do the parents get, and what assistance do the kids get?
Sure. So when you're a foster parent, you receive a daily rate depending on the child and depending on their behaviors for that child. And then the child themselves have all their health, their medical health and their mental health is covered for their insurance while they're foster children. If you do happen to get to the point where you're adopting, there's an adoption subsidy that many children qualify for. So afterwards, receiving in-state tuition, again, insurance coverage, things like that.
So after they move on after 18, then they can get some assistance with college?
With the in-state tuition and things like that.
Do you find that as an incentive for parents to maybe the fact that they will get financial assistance to maybe take that next step and move into adoptions, knowing that they're going to get a little bit of help?
I don't know if it's necessarily an incentive. I think that it helps with the families that have committed to bringing in a child to their home, that they're able to continue to help them beyond the age of 18, and especially for the higher education.
Which brings me to another question. We've obviously done some interviews with a couple of kids that are getting to that age where they're getting close to 18. They're teenagers, and a family has adopted 2 sets of teenagers.
Right.
What's the most, I guess, why is that the most difficult age for people to want to adopt?
I think for many reasons. I mean, obviously, a child that's reached older teen age, they may have been in care for a long time. So there could be a lot of trauma and history that they're trying to deal with. So the unknown, I'm sure, is difficult for some families to accept. And they may feel that a younger child is someone that they can mold a little bit and work with a little easier. But a lot of times these kids that are older, they just want a home. And if you're working with your agency, if you work with SJRC Texas with exactly what you can handle, there's quite a few children that are older that can work in foster homes.
I was going to say, if somebody comes to you and says, I want a child between this age and this age, is there a way to maybe say, well, we might want to steer you towards like an older child or maybe a younger child, depending on their circumstances?
It is an open conversation. So when someone inquires and is interested, and they may say we only want a certain age, as we're working through the process with them as home developers and then as case managers, that age range may change because the needs of the home may change, maybe what they can handle may change, and they may say, yes, I would like a little bit younger child, or know what, I think I can open it up to 10 and up. So it's just an ongoing conversation with the family.
Do you find more people are receptive to maybe going a different direction?
I think they're open if that's what, depending on their family, the family, their home, and what they're ready for. I think they're very open to the conversations with us.
And do you find some people that come in with that one, I want this, and they end up going maybe completely, they wanted a 5 or a 6-year-old and they end up with a 14-year-old. Do you ever find that happening?
For sure, because they come in thinking, for whatever reason, that a certain age fits for them. But maybe they get a placement of a child of that age, or maybe they start to realize that they can handle a larger age range. Or like I said, a child comes in at a younger age and they realize, what, that older child may actually be better for us, for whatever their lifestyle is.
Is it better to come in with an open mind or with an idea of what of the kind of age range you're looking for?
Oh, I think it's helpful to kind of know what you can handle and what you think would fit. But maybe after that, kind of have an open mind as far as once you start gathering information and learning about the process, is maybe being open to suggestions when you're talking with the home developer, the case manager, since we've gone through this before.
Do you find that people that want to come in and say, I just want to foster a child, and maybe they end up taking that next step and adopting because of the relationship they develop with that child?
Sure, it does happen. We love our foster only families. They are very special, but there are often times where they'll bring children in and work with them and then fall in love. And if those children become available for adoption, it has happened that they then will adopt.
It's a difficult question, but how bad do you want these kids to be adopted? I mean,
it's it's their biggest wish is they just want to be loved. They just want a family. They want to be stable. They want to feel safe. It's everybody that doesn't have a home. This is what they want, and someone to love them.
Are we getting to a point where there's more people coming in and inquiring about adoption? Are we getting less? Where are we as far as the number of parents and families that want to adopt?
It's wonderful that we've had a lot of inquiries and we're very busy, but the need is so great. I mean, no matter what, the need always outweighs the homes. So I'm very grateful that we've had a lot of inquiries and we have a lot of foster families, but we always need more.
And I know that there are people who may just be interested in helping in some way, don't really want to foster, maybe not for a long period of time, but just would enjoy the company of a child for a couple of days and want to help with finances and other, I guess, just going to shopping with them or helping them out in some way. What can people do who really don't want to foster for a long period of time or don't want to adopt at all? What's the avenues that they can take?
Sure, there's quite a few. You can babysit. There's certain requirements you have to pass to be a babysitter. You can babysit for a family, a foster child. You can provide respite, which is a little bit longer, up to 14 days. Again, you'd have to go through a certain background check and a certain process, but it's less than becoming a foster parent. You can mentor. I think one of the best things to do is to go to the SJRC Texas.org and look at the different ways. Obviously, monetary donations are always needed. You can also donate new children's clothing, baby items, things like that. So there's a lot of different ways you can support CASA. You can become a CASA. You can, there's a really large span of things that people can do if they just want to help, even to just providing a meal for foster parents that just got placement or have had placements. I think the best thing is to go inquiry and have a conversation with someone.
Do you have a lot of people like that are just willing to do some small things here and there just to kind of feel a part of it?
Yeah, we do. We have got some great people that do different things. It varies. So if you have a certain skill or something that might be really helpful, the best thing is just to kind of reach out and ask some questions and see if that's something that might help.
Finally, is there anything that we didn't really cover that a lot of people ask questions about? Is there something else that's kind of out there, or have we covered all the main questions that people ask?
You got a lot of them. I think the process that itself, they ask all about exactly what it is, and of course we can go through that, how long that takes, and that can vary. I mean, gathering all the information definitely can take 30 to 60 to 90 days if needed, but also it could be at the pace of the parents too. So if they start the process with us, but something needs to slow them down, we'll work with them and we're happy to go at their pace too.
Is there a certain amount of time they have to foster before they can adopt?
If a child's placed in their home, there's a certain amount with the courts that the children have to be in the home for a little while to make sure that the placement is effective. It's usually about 6 months before they can say that is the plan for the child to be adopted and unrelated adoption into that home. But then it can take a little bit longer for that to be finalized, up to 2 years to be finalized.
Is there a lot of governmental paperwork that has to be?
There's a lot, but that's what we're here for, to help. And the foster parents have a lot of requirements and things they have to do, but our case managers are wonderful about walking them through that process when they get to that, when they have placement in their home and helping them with that.
if somebody's interested in just taking that next step, maybe getting on the website or maybe giving you a call, what kind of encouragement would you give them to do that?
Oh yeah, don't hesitate, because whatever way that someone wants to help is needed, and we could find a way to work with them in all different aspects of our organization, whether it's the foster to adopt or the home up in Bulverde. There's many different ways they can help.
What is your reaction when you see the judge kind of like finalize the adoption and the family becomes one?
It's wonderful. I just watched one right before you came in, and it's just, a lot of them are on Zoom, so many people can watch. It's just great. I know you just interviewed a family, and I was involved with them at one point, and it's just great when it all works out like that.
And that's what you're here for?
That's what we're here for. It's what SJRC Texas is trying to do, to place these children in loving homes.